Welcome back. I'm Pratap here. Today is 21st March 2025. In this video, I'm going to generate different supply demand zone reports useful to the premium subscribers. Even before that, all of you please note we are providing complete free training on supply demand zone price action. You might be knowing the cost of the training is highly expensive. Even then, we are providing complete free training and all the training lessons are available at our NeoStock YouTube channel. So how to access these training lessons? Very simple. At our channel homepage, click on the tab Posts. Some of you might be seeing the tab Community. Click on the tab, you get access to this post. This post is having a YouTube playlist link that will take you to all the training lessons. You just click on the link. Now we are into supply demand zone price action course, YouTube playlist. So I added all the training lessons into this playlist. You just scroll down to the bottom of the page. Here, starting from lesson 1.1, all the training lessons are placed in an order. So please go through all these lessons one by one. According to the training instructions I provided at our Telegram channel. I provided the link to our Telegram channel in this video description. So join at our Telegram channel. At the top of the Telegram channel window, you can find pinned messages. Click on the pinned messages. So one of the pinned messages are having all the training instructions. So please learn this course according to those training instructions. Definitely you will become a very good independent trader. So please make use of this opportunity. Now we are getting into NeoStock Software Supply Demand Zone Top-Down Analysis Strategy Builder. Okay, with this we are going to find different supply demand zone reports. First we are going to find the stocks near and inside demand and supply zones. And during this process, we will also identify daily and 75 minutes high liquidity zones. After that, we will identify bullish and bearish trade setups for monthly, weekly, daily and hourly income trades. Even before that, we will generate NIFTY, BANKNIFTY, supply demand zone chain. And in the last report, we will generate stop buffers based on daily ATR. Okay, now starting with the yearly time frame, let us find the stocks where price closed inside the yearly demand zone. We got 4 stocks. In these 4 stocks, current price is closed inside the yearly demand zone. I am giving you only few seconds time to watch the report. So I request you pause the video, study the report. After that, you can proceed to the next reports. Those who don't understand the structure of this report, I request you complete our training lesson 21.1. That is part 1 of lesson 21. In that video, I have explained each and every column, their values, abbreviations in detail. Okay, next. Price closed inside the yearly supply zone. No stocks are available. Next time frame is a half yearly. Stocks near half yearly demand zone. We got 1 stock. Next half yearly time frame. Stocks near half yearly supply zone. We don't have any stocks. Next, price closed inside the half yearly demand zone. We got 5 stocks. Next, price closed inside the half yearly supply zone. We got 3 stocks. Next time frame is quarterly. Stocks near quarterly demand zone. We got 2 stocks. Next, stocks near quarterly supply zone, we got 6 stocks. Next, price closed inside the quarterly demand zone. We got multiple stocks and first 23 stocks in the list. Scrolling the list down. So total 33 stocks are filtered. Price closed inside the quarterly demand zone. We can further filter this list based on the EMA confluence. That is a quarterly demand zone having quarterly EMA confluence. So in the EMA confluence at quarterly time frame, I am selecting the filter quarterly demand zone having quarterly EMA confluence. And remember, when you select EMA confluence, trend on the time frame, that is quarterly, in this example quarterly time frame, it should not be sideways. Sideways, you already land sideways trend. EMA confluence does not give any advantage. So that's why we are not using sideways. I am selecting up or down. So with these filters, out of 33, we got 18 stocks. So these 18 quarterly demand zones are having quarterly EMA confluence. And also the current price closed inside these quarterly demand zones. Okay, next, quarterly time frame. Price closed inside the quarterly supply zone. We got 4 stocks. Let's verify out of these 4 how many quarterly supply zones are having quarterly EMA confluence. So out of 4 we got 3 stocks. These 3 quarterly supply zones are having quarterly EMA confluence. So this is about quarterly time frame. The next time frame is monthly. Stocks near monthly demand zone. We got 4 stocks. Next, stocks near monthly supply zone. We got 13 stocks. Next, price closed inside the monthly demand zone. First 18 stocks in the list. Scrolling the list down. Total 27 stocks are filtered. We can further filter this list based on monthly demand zones are having monthly EMA confluence. The EMA confluence at monthly, I am selecting the filter monthly demand zone having monthly EMA confluence. And trend on the monthly should not be sideways. It can be up or down. With these filters, we got 11 stocks. And in all these 11 stocks, monthly demand zones are having monthly EMA confluence, and also the current price closed inside these monthly demand zones. Okay, next, monthly time frame. Price closed inside the monthly supply zone. First 15 stocks in the list. Currently NIFTY closed inside the monthly supply zone. Scrolling the list down. So total 22 stocks are filtered. Now let's verify out of these 22, how many monthly supply zones are having monthly EMA confluence. So in the EMA confluence at monthly time frame, I am selecting monthly supply zone having monthly EMA confluence filter, and a trend on the monthly should not be sideways. It can be up or down. With these filters, now the list is come down to 15 stocks. In all these 15 stocks, monthly supply zones are having monthly EMA confluence, and also the current price closed inside these monthly supply zones. Okay. So this is about a monthly time frame. Next time frame is a weekly. And also remember, today is the end of the week. So I'm going to generate few additional reports for weekly time frame. Okay. For weekly time frame, stocks near weekly demand zone, we got 10 stocks. Next, stocks near weekly supply zone, first 15 stocks in the list. Scrolling the list down. So 31 stocks are there near to the weekly supply zone. Okay. Next, weekly time frame, price closed inside the weekly demand zone. We got 9 stocks. Out of these 9, how many weekly demand zones are having weekly EMA Confluence? Let us filter. In the EMA Confluence at weekly time frame, I am selecting the filter weekly demand zone having weekly EMA Confluence, and at the same time trend on the weekly should not be sideways, it can be up or down. So with these filters we got 2 stocks. So these 2 weekly demand zones are having weekly EMA Confluence and current price closed inside these weekly demand zones, and also both these weekly demand zones are pierced demand zones. Okay. Next, weekly time frame, price closed inside the weekly supply zone. We got a big list. First 15 stocks in the list. Nifty price, Nifty BANKNIFTY, Nifty Financial Services, Nifty Media, Nifty Metals, Nifty Oil and Gas, Nifty Private Bank. 7 indices are currently closed inside the weekly supply zones. Okay, I'm scrolling the list down. First 15 stocks in the list, I'm scrolling the list down. So total 61 stocks, current price closed inside the weekly supply zones. Now let us further filter this list. Based on weekly supply zones are having weekly EMA Confluence. So in the EMA Confluence at weekly time frame, I am selecting the filter weekly supply zone having weekly EMA Confluence. And at the same time trend on the weekly should not be sideways. It can be up or down. With these filters, now the list is reduced, but still we have good number of stocks. First 16 stocks in the list. Scrolling the list down. So total 29 stocks are filtered. So in all these 29 stocks, the weekly price is closed inside the weekly supply zone, and these weekly supply zones are having weekly EMA Confluence. Okay, we will generate few additional reports on weekly time frame because it is end of the week. So for weekly time frame, let us find the stocks having tested weekly demand zones during this week. So these 6 stocks having weekly demand zones are tested during this week. Okay, next, let us filter the stocks having the tested weekly supply zones. So several weekly supply zones are tested during this week, including Nifty 50, Nifty Bank, Nifty Financial Services, Nifty Midcap Select, Nifty Media, Nifty Metal, Nifty Private Bank. 7 indices are tested during this week. And out of these 7, in few stocks prices are closed inside. And the Nifty Midcap Select tested supply zone and moving towards near to the demand zone. Nifty Media closed inside the weekly supply zone. Nifty Metal closed inside the weekly supply zone. Nifty Private Bank is having a pierced supply zone. Okay, I'm scrolling the list down. So 40 stocks are filtered. That means these 40 stocks are having the tested weekly supply zone. So during this week. Okay. Next we will identify newly created weekly demand and supply zones. So next, let us find the stocks having newly created weekly demand zones during this week. Oh my God, we have a big list. 86 stocks are having newly created weekly demand zones. That's why this week the demand is much, much stronger. So we got a newly created weekly demand zones in Nifty and Nifty Bank, Nifty Financial Services, Nifty Midcap Select, Nifty Auto, Nifty Healthcare, Nifty Media, Nifty Oil and Gas, Nifty Pharma, Nifty Private Bank, Nifty Reality, Nifty Next 50. So if we are displaying 17 indices. Out of 17, 12 indices, weekly supply zones, weekly demand zones are created during this week. Very interesting. Okay, I'm scrolling the list down for your reference, so that you know what is happening in your favorite stocks. I'm scrolling the list down. So total 86 weekly demand zones are created during this week. Okay, next, let us find the stocks having newly created weekly supply zones during this week. No supply zones during this week, only demand zones. So demand is stronger, much, much stronger. Okay, this is about newly created zones. So next we will identify the stocks having a weekly, monthly and quarterly demand zone confluence supported stocks. Later we will filter with quarterly EMA confluence, those zones, because everything is part of quarterly. So select for weekly time frame in the demand zone confluence. I'm selecting the filter weekly demand zone having confluence with monthly demand zone, weekly demand zone having confluence with quarterly demand zone, and also monthly demand zone having confluence with quarterly demand zone. That means weekly is inside the monthly Both weekly and monthly together again they are inside the quarterly demand zone. Inside means overlapped. It can be exactly inside or overlapped with proximal line or overlapped with the distal line, but that overlap is taking place. So such kind of combination we call it as zone confluence. So LTF, ITF, HTF, by assuming LTF is weekly. So we got a big list. Even Nifty 50 weekly zone and monthly zone, they are all both are part of a quarterly demand zone confluence. Monthly and quarterly demand zone confluence, those zones are having. Very interesting. I'm scrolling the list down. So total 35 stocks are filtered, having zone confluence, demand zone confluence for weekly, monthly and quarterly. Okay, to look for even more high probability setup supported stocks, what we can do, we can filter this list based on quarterly demand zone having quarterly EMA confluence, because weekly zone and monthly zone together overlapped with quarterly. So that's why we are checking in the EMA confluence at quarterly time frame. Quarterly demand zone having quarterly EMA. At the same time, trend on the quarterly should not be sideways. It can be up or down. So now the list is come down to 22 stocks. So first 16 stocks in the list. Scrolling the list down. So total 22 stocks are filtered. Okay, this is about demand zone confluence, weekly, monthly and quarterly. Next we will look into supply zone confluence for weekly, monthly and quarterly. So entry time frame is weekly. In the supply zone confluence, weekly supply zone with monthly supply zone confluence filter enabled, weekly supply zone with quarterly supply zone confluence, and also monthly supply zone with quarterly supply zone confluence filters with all the three filters. That is weekly overlapped with monthly supply zone, both together overlapped with quarterly supply zone. Let us find how many stocks we get. We got only 8 stocks. So in these 8 stocks, weekly, all these are all weekly supply zones. These weekly supply zones are overlapped with monthly supply zone, and both together overlapped with quarterly supply zone. We can further filter to check how many quarterly supply zones are having quarterly EMA confluence supported stocks. So in the EMA confluence at quarterly time frame, I am selecting the filter quarterly supply zone having quarterly EMA confluence. And also trend on the quarterly time frame should not be sideways. It can be up or down. So with these filters, we got only 2 stocks. But both these quarterly supply zones are pierced supply zones. Okay. So this is about weekly time frame. So the next time frame is daily. Entry time frame daily, let us find the stocks near to the daily demand zone. We got 5 stocks. Okay, out of these 5, how many are having a daily high liquidity demand zones? So we don't have any daily high liquidity demand zone stocks from this list. Okay, next, for daily time frame, let us find the stocks near to the daily supply zone. We got 17 stocks. Out of these 17, how many are having a high liquidity daily supply zones. Let us find, we can use them for our HLQ zone strategy. Nifty Financial Services is having a daily high liquidity supply zone and it is listed in F&O. So it is valid for F&O trading. Next, Apollo Hospital is having a high liquidity daily supply zone. Axis Bank is having a daily high liquidity supply zone. Next, Page Industries is having a daily high liquidity supply zone. Policy Bazaar is having a daily high liquidity supply zone. Sonocoms is having a daily high liquidity supply zone. And remaining two are not high liquidity. So that means total we identified 6 daily high liquidity supply zones from this list. Okay. Next, price closed inside the daily demand zone. We got 7 stocks. Out of the 7, how many daily demand zones are having daily EMA Confluence? Let us filter. In the EMA Confluence at daily time frame, I am selecting the filter daily demand zone having daily EMA Confluence. And trend on the daily should not be sideways. It can be up or down. So with these filters, we got 2 stocks. So these 2 daily demand zones are having a daily EMA Confluence and current price closed inside the daily demand zone. And Tata Consumer is a pierced zone. We can apply pierced zone strategies on this stock. Okay. Next, daily time frame, price closed inside the daily supply zone. We got a big list. First 15 stocks in the list. Even both Nifty and Nifty Bank and even Nifty Mid Cap Select, all 3 are there in the F&O list. Current price closed inside the daily supply zones. In that, out of these 3, Nifty is having a pierced daily supply zone. Okay, I'm scrolling the list down. So total 96 stocks. Price closed inside the daily supply zone. If all these daily supply zones violate, immediately trend will be changed to either sideways or uptrends. Okay. Out of these 96 stocks, how many daily supply zones are having daily EMA Confluence? Let us verify. In the EMA Confluence at daily time frame, I am setting the filter daily supply zone having daily EMA Confluence. And also trend on the daily time frame should not be sideways. It can be up or down. So with these filters, now list is come down to only 20 stocks from 96 stocks. Okay, first 15 stocks in the list. Scrolling the list down. So total 20 stocks are filtered. So this is about the daily time frame. So next time frame is 125 minutes. Stocks near 125 minutes demand zone, we got 6 stocks. Next, stocks near 125 minutes supply zone. First 15 stocks in the list. I'm scrolling the list down. So total 19 stocks are filtered. Okay. Next time frame is 75 minutes. Entry time frame 75 minutes. Let us find the stocks near to the 75 minutes demand zone. We got 7 stocks. Let us identify high liquidity 75 minutes demand zones from this list. Hero Motors is having a 75 minutes high liquidity demand zone. That's it. We have only one 75 minutes high liquidity demand zone from this list. Okay, next 75 minutes time frame. Let us find the stocks price near to the 75 minutes supply zone. We got 21 stocks filtered. Let us identify high liquidity 75 minutes supply zones from this list. Bullish is having a 75 minutes high liquidity supply zone already tested 7 times. Several times the prices are within the zone. Interesting. Dabur is having a 75 minutes high liquidity supply zone. DLF is having a 75 minutes high liquidity supply zone. KPI Technologies is having a 75 minutes high liquidity supply zone. Marico is having a 75 minutes high liquidity supply zone. Prestige is having a 75 minutes high liquidity supply zone tested 14 times. VEDL is not valid because it is a pierced supply zone. That's it. We have identified 6 valid 75 minutes high liquidity supply zones from this list. Okay. So with this we have completed identifying daily and 75 minutes high liquidity zones. Okay, next time frame is 25 minutes. Stocks near 25 minutes demand zone. We got 6 stocks. Next, stocks near 25 minutes supply zone. Near 25 minutes supply zone. We got 16 stocks. So first 15 stocks in the list. Scrolling the list down. So total 16 stocks are filtered. Okay, next time frame is 15 minutes. Stocks near 15 minutes demand zone. We got 7 stocks. Let us verify out of these 7 how many are having ITF demand zone confluence. That is 15 minutes and 75 minutes demand zone confluence. I am enabling the filter. So with this filter out of 7, we got 2 stocks. In these two stocks, these 15 minutes demand zones are overlapped with 75 minutes demand zone. Okay. Next, 15 minutes time frame, stocks near 15 minutes supply zone. We got 8 stocks. Let's verify out of these 8, how many are having ITF supply zone confluence. That is 15 minute supply zone with 75 minute supply zone confluence. So I am enabling the filter. So with this filter, we got 4 stocks. Out of these 4, the second one and the fourth one are already pierced 15 minutes supply zones. Okay, next time frame is 5 minutes. Stocks near 5 minutes demand zone. We got 6 stocks. Let us verify out of these 6, how many are having ITF demand zone confluence. That is 5 minutes and 15 minutes demand zone confluence. I am enabling the filter. 4 stocks are filtered. In all these 4 stocks, these 5 minutes demand zones are overlapped with 15 minutes demand zones. Okay, next, 5 minutes time frame, stocks near 5 minutes supply zone. We got 3 stocks. Out of these 3, how many of these 5 minute supply zones are having 15 minute supply zone confluence? Let us find. That is ITF supply zone confluence. So I am enabling the filter 5 minute supply zone with 15 minute supply zone confluence. With this filter, out of 3, 2 are filtered. That means these 2 supply zones are overlapped with 15 minute supply zones. So this is about stocks near demand and supply zones for different time frames. Okay, next we will generate NIFTY and BANKNIFTY supply demand zone chain. First, let's start with NIFTY 50 supply demand zone chain. That is NIFTY supply demand zone chain. Starting with monthly time frame, I am generating a monthly supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. So this is a NIFTY monthly supply demand zone chain. So in any supply demand zone chain report, always look into the zone column to find the high liquidity zones. Look into the pierced column to find the pierced zones. And also look into the LTF trend to find the trend of the current time frame you have selected. Remaining columns you can understand easily. Okay. Next, weekly supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. Next, daily supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. So the 7th, this is the nearest demand zone to the current closing price, and the 6th is the nearest supply zone to the current closing price. That means the NIFTY current closing price is in between this high liquidity daily supply zone, the 6th one, and the 7th one, the high liquidity daily demand zone. This is how you should understand. This is the current status. Same way you should understand the remaining reports. Okay, next, 125 minutes supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. Next, 75-minute supply demand zone chain for Nifty. Next, 25-minute supply demand zone chain for Nifty. Next, 15-minute supply demand zone chain for Nifty. Serial number 30 is the nearest demand zone to the current closing price. So let me put it in the center so that we know we get equal number of demand and supply zones. Okay. Next, 5 minutes supply demand zone chain for Nifty. All are 5 minutes supply zones. I'm scrolling the list down. So here we have 47. This is the nearest 5 minutes demand zone to the current closing price. So this is about Nifty supply demand zone chain. Next, we will generate Bank Nifty supply demand zone chain. That is nothing but Nifty Bank. So generating monthly supply demand zone chain for Bank Nifty. Okay, next, weekly supply demand zone chain for Bank Nifty. Next, daily supply demand zone chain for Bank Nifty. Next, 125 minutes supply demand zone chain for Bank Nifty. Next, 75 minutes supply demand zone chain for Bank Nifty. Next, 25 minutes supply demand zone chain for Bank Nifty. Next, 15 minutes supply demand zone chain for Bank Nifty. Next, 5 minutes supply demand zone chain for Bank Nifty. So 20 is the nearest demand zone to the current closing price. 19 is the nearest supply zone to the current closing price. Okay. So this is about Bank Nifty supply demand zone chain. So with this we have completed both Nifty and Bank Nifty supply demand zone chain reports useful to the Nifty Bank Nifty traders. Next, we will generate bullish and bearish trade setups for all the 4 income trades, monthly, weekly, daily and hourly income trades. First, let us start with monthly income trades. And in the monthly income trade, bullish trade setup, entry time frame daily, entry zone is demand zone. In bullish or bearish trade setup at daily time frame, I am selecting bullish. And the zone achievement should be violated opposing zone and a minimum odd enhancer score should be 12. With these filters, all filters are applied to daily demand zone. We got 10 stocks. Currently, these 10 stocks are supporting bullish trade setup for bullish trade setup for monthly income trade, and entry time frame is a daily demand zone. This is how we should understand. Okay, out of these 10 daily demand zones, how many are having ITF Confluence? Let us filter to find the high probability setup supported daily demand zones. So that means daily demand zones are overlapped with weekly, then those daily demand zones might be having even more high probability to get success because it is part of the weekly zone. So let us find such kind of stocks. So in the demand zone Confluence, I am enabling the filter daily demand zone with weekly demand zone Confluence. With this filter, we got 7 stocks out of 10. That means in all the 7 stocks, these daily demand zones are overlapped with weekly demand zones. All these daily demand zones overlapped with weekly demand zone. When a daily demand zone is inside weekly, its probability to get success is higher because weekly order flows are stronger compared to daily, the individual daily. But now daily is not individual, it is part of the weekly. So that way we are improving the probability of getting success in identifying daily demand zones. Okay, because the daily is overlapped with weekly, if that weekly demand zone having weekly EMA Confluence with the uptrend, then daily demand zones might be having even more high probability to get success. That also we will do. We will apply EMA filter because weekly trend is up in all the stocks. In the uptrend or downtrend, you can use EMA Confluence, but we should not use in sideways because it is a bullish trade setup. Obviously, weekly time frame should be having uptrend in monthly income trade. So let's go back. In the EMA Confluence, at weekly time frame, I am selecting weekly demand zone is having weekly EMA Confluence. With this filter, we got 1 stock. So this demand zone is having more high probability to get success. But it is an indices not listed in F&O category. Okay, this is about LTF, ITF demand zone Confluence and ITF EMA Confluence. Next, we will look into LTF, ITF and HTF demand zone Confluence supported stocks, that is daily, weekly and monthly demand zone Confluence. So I am removing EMA filter. In the demand zone Confluence, 3 filters we have to set. The first one is already enabled, daily with weekly zone Confluence. Next, daily demand zone with monthly demand zone Confluence and weekly demand zone with monthly demand zone Confluence. With all the 3 filters enabled, we got 3 stocks. In these 3 stocks, these daily demand zones are overlapped with weekly demand zone. Again, both together again overlapped with monthly demand zone. And monthly trend is up in all the 3 stocks. And the daily and weekly are part of the monthly demand zone. If monthly demand zone is having monthly EMA Confluence because trend is up, then those daily demand zones might be having even more high probability to get success if any stocks are filtered. Let us verify. So in the EMA Confluence at monthly time frame, I am checking monthly demand zone having monthly EMA Confluence. and all the 3 stocks are having monthly trend up. So we can filter. So we got 2 stocks. First one is Indices. So second one, Nestle Industries, is a equity stock. So these 2 stocks are having even more high probability to get success compared to the other stocks. So this is bullish trade setup for monthly income trade. Next, bearish trade setup for monthly income trade. Entry time frame is daily. Entry zone is supply zone. In bullish or bearish trade setup at entry time frame daily, I am selecting bearish. And the zone achievement should be violated opposing zone. Minimum odd and enhanced score should be 12. With these filters, we got 6 stocks. Currently, these 6 stocks, at present, these 6 stocks are supporting bearish trade setup for monthly income trade. And all these entry time frame zones are daily supply zones. We have 6 daily supply zones are there, entry supply zones which are supporting bearish trade setup for monthly income trade. Okay, out of these 6 daily supply zones, how many are having even more probability to get success? That we can identify based on supply zone confluence. First filter is LTF and ITF supply zone confluence. That is a daily and weekly supply zone confluence. I am enabling the filter. So we got all the 6 stocks are filtered. That means in all the 6 stocks, these daily supply zones are overlapped with weekly supply zone. They are part of weekly. And the weekly trend is down in all these stocks, ITF trend. So if weekly supply zone having weekly EMA confluence, then these daily supply zones might be having even more high probability to get success. Let's verify. In the EMA confluence at weekly time frame, I am checking weekly supply zones are having weekly EMA confluence. Anyway, trend is downtrend, weekly trend. So out of 6, we got 5 stocks. So these 5 daily supply zones are having more high probability to get success based on daily and weekly supply zone confluence and weekly EMA confluence for weekly zone. Okay, next we will look into LTF, ITF and HTF supply zone confluence supported stocks. Going back, removing this EMA filter, in the supply zone confluence, I should set 3 filters. First filter is already enabled, daily with weekly. Next, daily supply zone with monthly supply zone confluence. Weekly supply zone with monthly supply zone confluence. With all the 3 filters, LTF, ITF, HTF, supply zone confluence, we got 3 stocks. That means in these 3 stocks, these daily supply zones are overlapped with weekly supply zone. Then both together again overlapped with monthly supply zone. So all are part of monthly supply zone, all these daily supply zones. But monthly trend is sideways. Sideways trend EMA confluence does not give any advantage. So that's why no need to check for EMA confluence. So this is bearish trade setup for monthly income trade. Next, we will look into weekly income trade supported stocks. So weekly income trade bullish trade setup, entry time frame is 75 minutes, entry zone demand zone, bullish or bearish trade setup at 75 minutes I am selecting bullish, and the zone achievement should be violated opposing zone, minimum odd enhancer score should be 12. And also this 75 minutes demand zone should not be pierced. So in the pierced count parameter, here we have pierced count parameter. In this we are selecting the time frame 75 minutes because this is our entry time frame. And we are setting minimum value 0, maximum value 0. It indicates pierced count on the 75 minutes demand zone because we selected demand zone, 75 minutes demand zone. So that 75 minutes demand zone should not be pierced. So pierced count should be 0. 0 means zone is not pierced. So we want such kind of stocks. So pierced count filter, minimum odd enhanced score filter, zone achievement. All the three filters will be applied to our 75 minutes demand zone. That's why we selected 75 minutes demand zone. That is our entry time frame. So let's filter. Now we got 10 stocks. These 10 stocks are currently supporting bullish trade setup for weekly income trade, and entry time frame zones are 75 minutes demand zones. All these are all 75 minutes demand zones. How many we got? 10. So out of these 10 75 minutes demand zones, how many are having even more high probability to get success? How we can find? Based on the zone confluence. If 75 minutes demand zone is there inside daily, obviously the 75 minutes demand zone is part of the daily zone, and that way it get more high probability to get success, because daily order flows were much stronger than some individual 75 minute zones. So 75 is part of the daily. So the daily related power the zone will get. So that is what our theory behind identifying high probability. All these concepts you learned in lesson 26. Lesson 27. Lesson 27, I explained all these strategies. Okay, now I am applying zone confluence, LTF, ITF, demand zone confluence. That is 75 demand zone with daily demand zone confluence. I enable the filter. With this filter, now the list is 7 stocks we got. In all these 7 stocks, these 75 minutes demand zones are overlapped with daily demand zones. Okay, daily trend is up in all the stocks. ITF trend is daily trend. Because 75 is part of the daily demand zone, and if the daily demand zone is having daily EMA confluence, then those filter stocks are 75 minutes demand zones might be having more high probability to get success. Let's filter. In the EMA confluence, a daily time frame, because 75 minutes entry time frame demand zone is overlapped with daily demand zone. That's why we are setting daily demand zone is having daily EMA confluence. So with this filter, we got 4 stocks. So in these 4 stocks, the 75 minutes demand zones might be having even more high probability to get success. Okay. So this is about LTF, ITF demand zone confluence and ITF EMA confluence for weekly income trade, bullish trade setup. Next, we will look into LTF, ITF, HTF demand zone confluence supported stocks. That is 75 minutes demand zone, daily and weekly demand zone confluence. I removed EMA filter. In the demand zone confluence, 3 filters we should set. First filter is already enabled. Next, 75 minutes demand zone with weekly demand zone confluence, daily demand zone with weekly demand zone confluence. With all the 3 filters, we got 2 stocks. In these 2 stocks, these daily demand zones these 75 minutes demand zones are overlapped with daily demand zone. Then both together overlapped with weekly demand zone. But weekly trend is up in only 1 stock. If this stock, weekly demand zone having weekly EMA confluence, then this 75 minutes demand zone might be having more high probability to get success. Let's verify. In the EMA confluence weekly time frame, I am checking. Weekly demand zone is having weekly EMA confluence. At the same time, trend should not be sideways on weekly. We don't want those stocks. We want only uptrend stocks because it is bullish trade setup. So this is filtered. So that means this zone might be having even more high probability to get success. For bullish trade setup, weekly income trade. Next, bearish trade setup weekly income trade, entry time frame 75 minutes, entry zone is supply zone, and in bullish or bearish trade setup at 75 minutes I am selecting bearish, and zone achievement violated opposing zone, minimum odd and enhanced score 12, and 75 minute supply zone should not be pierced. So in the pierced count at 75 minutes time frame, I am selecting minimum value 0, maximum value 0. With these filters, we got 3 stocks. So these 3 stocks are currently supporting bearish trade setup for weekly income trade, and all these entry time frame zones are 75 minute supply zones. Out of these 375 minute supply zone, let us verify how many are having ITF supply zone confluence. That is 75 minute supply zone should overlap with daily supply zone. So I am enabling that filter. Sorry, this is demand zone. I am not setting the filter. So in the supply zone confluence, at 75 minute supply zone is overlapped with daily supply zone, and we are checking. So the filter is enabled. With this filter, out of 3 stocks, we got all 3 stocks. So that means in all the 3 stocks, the 75 minute supply zones are overlapped with daily supply zones. And daily trend is down in all the 3 stocks. Because 75 supply zone is overlapped with daily supply zone, if daily supply zone having daily EMA confluence, then these 75 minute supply zones might be having even more high probability to get success. So let us filter. EMA confluence at daily time frame, I am checking if daily supply zone having daily EMA confluence. Anyway, daily trend is downtrend because it is bearish trade setup. So none of the stocks are having daily EMA confluence, daily supply zone not having daily EMA. So none of the stocks filtered. Okay, fine. Now let us look into LTF, ITF, HTF supply zone confluence supported stocks. Out of those 3, I am removing EMA filter. In the supply zone confluence, 3 filters we have to set. First filter is already enabled, 75 with daily supply zone confluence. Next, 75 minute supply zone with weekly supply zone confluence. Daily supply zone with weekly supply zone confluence. With all the 3 filters enabled, we got all the 3 stocks. That means these 75 minute supply zones are overlapped with the daily supply zone. Now again, both together are overlapped with weekly supply zone. So everything is part of the weekly supply zone, and the weekly trend is down in all the 3 stocks. If any of these weekly supply zones are having weekly EMA confluence, then those stocks are might be having even more high probability to get success. Let's verify. So in the EMA confluence at weekly time frame, I'm checking weekly supply zone having weekly EMA confluence. Anyway, weekly trend is downtrend. So out of 3, we got 2 stocks. So these 2 are having even more high probability to get success. So this is about bearish trade setup for weekly income trade. Okay, next we will look into daily income trade supported stocks. For daily income trade, entry time frame 15 minutes, entry zone, demand zone. In bullish or bearish trade setup at a 15 minutes time frame, entry time frame, I am selecting bullish. And the zone achievement should be violated opposing zone, minimum odd enhanced score should be 12, and the 15 minutes demand zone should not be pierced. So in the pierced count at 15 minutes time frame, selecting minimum value 0, maximum value 0. Now all the 3 filters. This 15 minutes supply zone Pierced count, minimum odd enhancer, zone achievement, all the three filters are applied to 15 minutes demand zone. We selected bullish only, right? Let me check again. Yeah. So now let's filter. We got 12 stocks. All these 12 stocks are currently supporting bullish trade setup for a daily income trade. And all the entry time frame zones are 15 minutes demand zones. All these are all 15 minutes demand zone. So out of these 12 15 minutes demand zones, how many are having even more high probability to get success? That we will find based on zone confluence, demand zone confluence. So first filter is LTF, ITF, demand zone confluence, supported stocks. That is 15 minutes and 75 minutes demand zone confluence. I am enabling the filter. With this filter, we got 11 stocks. In all these 11 stocks, these 15 minutes demand zones are overlapped with 75 minutes demand zones. And 75 minutes trend is, ITF trend is up in all these stocks. So that's why if any of the 75 minutes demand zones are having daily EMA confluence, then these 15 minutes demand zones are having more high probability to get success, because these 15 minutes demand zones are already overlapped with 75 minutes demand zone. So let's set that filter, EMA filter, at 75 minutes time frame. I'm checking 75 minutes demand zone having daily EMA confluence. Anyway, 75 minutes trend is uptrend. So we got two stocks. So these two 15 minutes demand zones might be having more high probability to get success, because they are overlapped with 75 minutes demand zone, and that 75 minutes demand zone is having daily EMA confluence. Okay, this is based on LTF, ITF zone confluence and EMA confluence. Next, we will look into LTF, ITF and even HTF demand zone confluence supported stocks. I am removing this EMA filter. In the demand zone confluence, we should set three filters. First filter is already enabled, 15 minutes with 75 minutes demand zone confluence. Next, 15 minutes demand zone with daily demand zone confluence. 75 minutes demand zone with daily demand zone confluence. With all the three filters, again we got two stocks. So these two stocks, these 15 minutes demand zones overlapped with 75 minutes demand zone. Both together again overlapped with daily demand zone. And the daily trend is up in both the stocks. If any of these daily demand zones are having daily EMA confluence, then these 15 minutes demand zones might be having even more high probability to get success. Let's verify. In the EMA confluence at a daily time frame, I am checking daily demand zone having daily EMA. Anyway, daily trend is up in both the stocks. So one stock is filtered. So this is having even more high probability to get success, this 15 minutes demand zone. So this is bullish trade setup for daily income trade. Next, bearish trade setup for daily income trade. Entry time frame 15 minutes, entry zone is supply zone. Bullish or bearish trade setup at 15 minutes time frame. I am selecting bearish. And the zone achievement should be violated opposing zone. Minimum odd enhancer score should be 12. And also this 15 minute supply zone should not be pierced. So in the pierced count parameter at a 15 minutes time frame, I am selecting minimum value 0, maximum value 0. With these filters, we got only one stock. So this supply zone is supporting bearish trade setup for daily income trade. And this entry time frame zone is 15 minute supply zone, because entry time frame is 15 minutes and entry zone is supply zone. Let us check what kind of probability this zone might be having to get success. First, we will check whether this zone is having ITF supply zone confluence. That is a 15 minutes with 75 minutes supply zone confluence. So I am enabling the filter. So the stock is filtered. That means this 15-minute supply zone is overlapped with 75-minute supply zone. And also 75 minutes trend is down. Let us check if the 75 minutes trend, 75 minutes supply zone is having daily EMA confluence. The EMA confluence at 75 minutes, I'm checking 75 minutes supply zone having daily EMA confluence. Anyway, 75 minutes trend is downtrend. So it is filtered. So that means this zone is having even more high probability to get success. Let us check if this zone is also having HTF supply zone confluence. That is 15 minutes, 75 minutes and daily supply zone confluence is there or not, we are checking. So in the supply zone confluence, 3 filters we have to set. First filter is already enabled. Next 15 minutes supply zone with daily supply zone confluence. And 75 minute supply zone with daily supply zone confluence. With all the 3 filters, we did not get the stock. Okay, but that is already having high priority based on LTF, ITF zone confluence and ITF EMA confluence for the supply zones. Okay, this is bearish trade setup for daily income trade. Next, we will look into hourly income trade. Hourly income trade bullish trade setup entry time frame is 5 minutes. Entry zone is demand zone. Bullish or bearish trade setup at 5 minutes time frame, I am selecting bullish. And the 5 minutes demand zone should have a zone achievement violated opposing zone. Minimum odd and enhanced score should be 12. And also 5 minutes demand zone should not be pierced demand zone. So in the pierced count, at 5 minutes time frame, I am checking 5 minutes demand zone having minimum value 0, maximum value 0. So with these filters, we got 23 stocks supporting bullish trade setup for hourly income trade. And all these entry time frame zones are 5 minutes demand zones. So first 15 stocks in the list. I'm scrolling the list down. So total 23 stocks are filtered. Now let's verify. Out of these 23, how many are having more high probability to get success based on this zone confluence and then EMA confluence. First, we will look into LTF, ITF demand zone confluence supported stocks. That is 5 minutes and 15 minutes demand zone confluence supported stocks. I am enabling the filter. So with this filter, out of 21, we got 15 stocks. So in these 15 stocks, these 5 minutes demand zones are overlapped with 15 minutes demand zones. And the 15 minutes trend is up in all these stocks. So that's why if any of these 15 minutes demand zones are having daily EMA confluence, then these 5 minutes demand zones might be having even more high probability to get success. Let's verify. In the EMA confluence at 15 minutes time frame, I am checking 15 minutes demand zone having daily EMA confluence. So with this filter, we got 2 stocks. So these 2 5 minutes demand zones might be having more probability to get success compared to the other zones. The reason these 5 minute zones are overlapped with 15 minutes demand zones, and those 15 minutes demand zones are having daily EMA confluence. Okay, this is LTF, ITF demand zone confluence and ITF EMA confluence. So next filter is LTF, ITF and also HTF demand zone confluence supported stocks. That is 5 minutes, 15 minutes and 75 minutes demand zone Confluence supported stocks. Let us find them. First, I am removing EMA filter. In the demand zone Confluence, we should set 3 filters. First filter is already enabled. Next, 5 minutes demand zone with 75 minutes demand zone Confluence and 15 minutes demand zone with something wrong. Next, 15 minutes demand zone with 75 minutes demand zone Confluence. We enabled all the 3 filters. No other filters are enabled. Okay. That means LTF, ITF, HTF, demand zone Confluence, we got 6 stocks. That means in all the 6 stocks, these 5 minutes demand zones are overlapped with 15 minutes demand zone. Again, both together overlapped with 75 minutes demand zone. And the 75 minutes trend, HTF trend, is up in all the stocks except the third one. Remaining all are uptrend. So in the uptrend stocks, if any of the 75 minute supply zones are having daily EMA Confluence, then those stocks might be having even more high probability to get success. The 5 minute supply zones. 5 minutes demand zones. So let's verify. So in the EMA Confluence at 75 minutes time frame, I am setting the filter. 75 minutes demand zone is having daily EMA Confluence. At the same time, the trend on the 75 should not be sideways. It should be uptrend because it is bullish trade setup. So with these filters, we got only one stock. So probably this 5 minutes demand zone might be having more high probability to get success. So this is bullish trade setup for hourly income trade. Bullish trade setup for hourly income trade. Next, we will generate a bearish trade setup for hourly income trade reports. So entry time frame 5 minutes, but entry zone is supply zone. And also in bullish or bearish trade setup at 5 minutes, I am selecting bearish. And the zone achievement should be violated opposing zone. Minimum odd enhancer score should be 12. And also the 5 minute supply zone should not be pierced. So in the pierced count at 5 minutes time frame, I am selecting minimum value 0, maximum value 0. So with this, all the 3 filters, the pierced count, minimum odd enhancer score, zone achievement, all the 3 filters are applied to 5 minute supply zone. So let's filter. We got 6 stocks. All these 6 stocks are currently supporting bearish trade setup for hourly income trade. And entry time frame zones are 5 minute supply zones. Out of these 6 5 minute supply zones, let us verify how many are having LTF ITF supply zone Confluence. That means 5 minute supply zone should overlap with 75 minute supply zone. Let us identify such kind of stocks. So I am enabling 5 minute supply zone with 15 minute supply zone Confluence supported stocks. We got 6 stocks out of 7. In all the 6 stocks, the 5 minute supply zones are overlapped with 15 minute supply zones. All these 5 minute supply zones. And the 15 minutes trend, ITF trend, is down in all the stocks. Let us check if any of the 15 minutes supply zones are having daily EMA Confluence. If any are filtered, then those 5 minute supply zones might be having more high probability to get success. Let's verify. In the EMA Confluence at 15 minutes time frame, I'm checking 15 minute supply zone having daily EMA Confluence. So none of the stocks are having 15 minute supply zone with daily EMA Confluence. Okay, this is LTF ITF supply zone and ITF EMA Confluence filter. Next, we will look into LTF, ITF and even HTF supply zone Confluence supported stocks. That means 5 minutes, 15 minutes and 75 minutes supply zone Confluence. Removing EMA filter. In the supply zone Confluence, 3 filters we have to set. First filter is already enabled, 5 minutes with 15 minutes supply zone Confluence. Next 5 minutes supply zone with 75 minutes supply zone Confluence. 15 minutes supply zone with 75 minutes supply zone Confluence. With all the 3 filters, we got 6 stocks. In all these 6 stocks, these 5 minute supply zones are overlapped with 15 minute supply zones. Again, both together overlapped with 75 minute supply zone. That means all these 5 minute supply zones are fine-tuned zones inside the 75 minute supply zones. But those 75 minutes trend is sideways, 75 minutes time frame. Sideways trend, we cannot use EMA Confluence because it won't give any advantage. So I am not using EMA filter to further filter the stocks. So this is a hourly income trade bearish trade setup. With this, we have completed all the income trade reports. And in the final report, let us generate stop buffers based on daily ATR. All these are all stop buffer values. And the first 17 in this list are indices, remaining all are equity stocks. So I'm scrolling the list down. Whichever the stock you want to refer, there pause the video. After that, you can proceed further. Okay, I'm scrolling the list down. This is the end of the report. Hope this information will be useful to you for your further study and analysis. Let's all meet again in our next video. Thank you.